everybody. It's Monday and that means it's time for family movie night. And this week we are talking about one of the great family films ever made. It is right up there, in my opinion, with Mary Poppins. As far as live action family films, I think it is just about perfect. It's The Wizard of Oz. And I've had a hard time with this review because I have so much to say that it's almost like what to say first. But I'm going to do my best to talk about it because I really do think this is just about a perfect movie. It was made in 1939 by director Victor Fleming, and it features music by Harold Arlen and Yip Harburg. And it, of course, stars Judy Garland as Dorothy, and she is a young girl in black and white sepia tone Kansas, and she doesn't feel understood. She doesn't feel listened to, and she has to have her dog taken away by this mean lady named Mrs. Gulch. And so she's very upset. And it is at this point that she sings the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And this is my favorite song. I have about 7 different versions of this song on my music library. And I just love the hopefulness of the song. I love sort of the longing of the song. It's a song that basically asks a question. Is there something greater to hope for? Is there something better out there? And we get to see in the movie kind of what Dorothy learns about the answer to that question. Think about when this movie was released, 1939, with the war going on, especially in Europe, and what everybody was dealing with, it makes sense that they would be kind of wondering where the end of the rainbow was and where things were going to be better. And so it's really quite moving if you think of it from that perspective. And Judy Garland has such a gorgeous voice, and there's also a certain degree of aching in her voice, I think. And the fact that this whole movie, I think, is made more impactful, to me at least, as a huge Judy Garland fan, by the fact that she had such a sad life. And so there's a real bittersweet quality to it, that the whole lesson of Wizard of Oz is that the things that we are looking for most of the time, that love that we're looking for most of the time, is right in our back door and right in our own families. And unfortunately for Judy, she didn't have that. And she once said that she never found her end of the rainbow. And you can really see that that's the case in her life, unfortunately. So there's a real bittersweet element, I think, to the song and to her performance. And at this point, she was 16 when she made Wizard of Oz, and at this point, she was basically just a hamster working for, like in one of those hamster wheels, working for MGM, and nonstop. Sometimes they would go from one movie to literally that same day start shooting the next movie. She was already been put on amphetamines and other adrenaline and different things like that. She could work and work and work and work. There's lots of tales of her being harassed, being assaulted, and her mother doing nothing to rescue her or save her. So it's really, really, really sad. And like I said, I think there's just something about this movie that becomes extra meaningful when you think of it from Judy's perspective. So moving on, she sings about Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and then she decides to run away. And she meets the fortune teller, and he tells her that her Aunt Em needs her, and so she tries to go back, and that's when she gets hit on the head. This tornado comes and takes her to Oz. Of course, and I love, of course, this is all black and white all up to this point, which is beautiful, and the tornado sequence is just beautiful. It's great. It's funny. It's sweet. It's charming. It's perfect. I love it. And then, of course, she gets to Oz, and all of a sudden everything is in color. So this is this other place that she's been looking for. And so she has to see, is this the place that she really is going to find this happiness? It's this fantastic place. She finds out that she has landed her house on a witch. And of course the Munchkins are there, and Glinda the Good Witch, and they welcome her to Munchkin Town, and they end up putting the ruby slippers on Dorothy. And she is at a point where she's still questioning her home. So of course, she is not going to use the ruby slippers the way that she does at the end of the film. And that's why some people are like, why doesn't Glinda just tell her right there? She says at the end, you wouldn't have believed me. And it takes her sort of facing this great evil for her to realize really, really, really what she had before. So Dorothy is told by the Good Witch that she needs to go to visit the Wizard of Oz and go to the Emerald City. So she starts on the Yellow Brick Road, and you get more great songs. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, follow the Yellow Brick Road. And she meets the Scarecrow, who is played by Ray Bolger, and he is just so fun. He, of course, doesn't have a brain, and I love his song. It's so charming. If I only had a brain, I could tell you why the ocean meets the shore. I could think of things I never thought before, and then I'd stop and think some more. I love it. It's so good. And of course, then they meet the Tin Man, who's played by Jack Haley, and he, of course, doesn't have a heart. And so he sings about wanting a heart. And then we meet the Cowardly Lion, played by Burt Layer. And he, of course, looks like a lion, but he is very, 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 very shy and very, very cowardly. We go to the Emerald City and meet the wizard, played by Frank Morgan, and he gives her this impossible task that she has to go and get the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West. And of course, he's doing this because he doesn't think it's possible. But she goes to the castle of the Wicked Witch of the West, Dorothy and the whole team, and she ends up getting incarcerated basically there by the Wicked Witch of the West. The Wicked Witch is, of course, played by Margaret Hamilton, and it is an iconic performance. It's one of the iconic bad guys in a movie ever. And here, when she has Dorothy imprisoned, she is just scary. And she gives her this hourglass, and she says, "This is the amount of time you have to live." Ha 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 ha, kind of thing. Got a classic laugh, her classic. And of course, that's when Dorothy sees Aunt Em in the crystal ball. And I think Judy Garland gives a great performance in these scenes. It's really heart-wrenching. You see her just crying and crying and crying. She ends up getting rescued by the Scarecrow, by the Tin Man, by the lion, and through some luck, she ends up being able to pour water on the Wicked Witch of the West, and the Wicked Witch of the West. Oh, what a world, what a world, what a world, when a good little girl like you can destroy my beautiful wickedness. And so the Wicked Witch of the West is gone. She has the broom. She goes to the wizard. And of course, now that is when we realize that the Wizard of Oz is a fraud. And he is able to help all of the characters except for Dorothy. Then Glinda, the Good Witch, tells her that she always had the power with the ruby slippers if she just believed in home. And there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And she gets to say goodbye to her friends. And it's really heart-wrenching. Like when she says goodbye to the Scarecrow, it's really sad. And you feel that chemistry. You feel that relationship that they have been through this horrible thing together of facing off against this evil. But she clicks her heels and she ends up back in Kansas, and she realizes that is where she belongs. And so that's the great message of Wizard of Oz, is that there are going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you that this will make you happy, and that will be salesmen for all different versions of happiness, whether it be drugs, whether it be idleness, whether it will be purchasing things through, you know, like you've got to buy the next great boat, the next great clothes, you've got to do this to your body, there's all these different things that promise you, if you do this, you will be happy. But in reality, what really makes us happy is our families, is our home, is our community, all of those different things. And so that's really what it's saying, is don't believe these charlatans who have these false promises of happiness. And that is the true thing that will really defeat evil and defeat the hard times of our lives. It is our relationships. And so that's what I take away from Wizard of Oz. And it's just such a wonderful movie. It's about this great journey to defeat evil, and in the Wicked Witch of the West, it has great songs. It looks beautiful. I love the difference between the black and white and the color. I think it still totally holds up as far as the production design and the actors, and I think they all have really good chemistry together. And it's just a wonderful experience to watch. I mean, I wish I had kids so I could watch this movie with them, because I think it's just one of those special movies to watch and as a child. And I just, there's nothing wrong. In my opinion, it's a perfect film. I just love it. So, and I have to say, I hate all of the follow-ups, but Wizard of Oz, it's just one of those untouchables. It's one of the greats. So let me know what you think, and thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you later.